I'm Pankaj Verma, and today we are going to take up a very important topic for mains. This is secularism. So, before we begin into the topic, let me tell you in brief about myself. I am currently a faculty of political science and international relations at Chanakya IS, and I have given 5 mains, UPSC mains actually, and have appeared twice for UPSC interviews. So let us begin with the topic. Before going into the topic, let us see UPSC previous year's question. So the questions related to secularism has appeared like constantly after 1 or 2 years, right? It has appeared in 2019, 2018, then 2000. Apart from this, there is one more topic known as communalism. Okay, so this is also like related topics with this one. So you can have questions which are kind of interlinked in nature. So let us see the relevance of this topic. Okay, so in terms of relevance, let us see first UPSC relevance. Okay, so in terms of UPSC mains, this topic is going to be helpful in GS1, especially society topic. Apart from that, this topic will also help you in history, actually modern India history, where you are going to read about the partition problem of India. Okay, then in GS2, yeah, of course, in GS2, polity and governance, you can always have questions related with secularism. And since it is a part of the basic structure as given in the SR Bombay case, so a question from secularism can be directly asked or it could be linked with some other topic. So that's why you need to have a deep understanding of this topic. Then this topic can have a question in GS4. Okay, not direct question, but somehow you need to know the concept so as to explain some related topic in GS4. And yeah, of course, in essay paper you can always use this concept while explaining the problems of secularism, communalism, or problem of national integration. Okay, now in terms of exam relevance, like this course or this topic, you can use this in UPSC, state public service commission exams, or even if you're a student of undergraduate some social sciences course, right? So now let us begin with the topic. First of all, we are going to see the definitional aspects of the topic, and then we are going to see the historical and the philosophical basis of secularism. So why we need to study secularism, what is the importance, and when we are going to study the historical evolution aspect, we are going to see that what were the situations, historical situations in those days under which the concept of secularism emerged. Okay, so let us first begin with the definition part. So in order to understand this definition, let us first go through this figure. So here we can see that there are 3 entities as such, right? One is the religion itself, okay, the other is the state, and the third one is the individual. So all these 3 entities, see, state actually is a artificial or a virtual entity, and its physical form, okay, its actual form or real form reflects or manifest in terms of the government. Okay, so what we are seeing is an interaction between individual and the government, okay, and interaction between the individual and the religion, whereas also interaction between the state and the religion. So there are 3 types of interactions which are happening. Okay, so let us first understand the relationship between the individual and the state. Okay, so this in the interaction between individual and the state, religion is supposed to be absent. Okay, so whenever an individual is dealing with the state, so suppose you have some demand, it could be policy demand or it could be scheme based demands. Okay, whatever your needs are, oftenly what happens that citizens, they lobby, they protest, or they ask their government to fulfill their demands, but those demands should not be based on religion. Similarly, the state, while dealing with citizens or the individuals, they should not bring the question of religion or the conditions or any such matters which pertain to religion in their dealings, right? So this is known as actually public sphere, right? The dealings of state and the individual, they constitute the public sphere, also known as the political sphere. Okay, so in the political sphere or arena, there should be no dealings, no concerns related with religion. Now we must also try understand this, that what we are studying this here, this is more relevant with European model of secularism. So we are, as of now, we are going through standard versions. Okay, we are going to understand the standard version of secularism. Okay, after that we are going to also see how this version, standard version, applies in case of India. So let us first understand the basic definitions, then we will move to the Indian version of it. Okay, so this one is the public sphere, and in the public sphere, when the individual is dealing with the state, in this public sphere, religion should not be a part. Okay, it should be absent. Now let us take the interaction of state and religion. So the scholars like Machiavelli, Locke and Hobbes, they have said that state should not interfere in religion. Okay, so religion belongs to the personal sphere. Now see, this sphere, this is known as personal sphere, personal or private sphere. Okay, that is your dealings with other individuals, your peers, your friends, and within the family. This is the personal sphere, and state should not interfere in the personal sphere of the individuals. So individuals and the religions, this is their private matter, how they practice, how they profess, how they take the matters of faith and belief. So state should not have to do anything with all these things, right? Now, so here there are two terms, right? State should be either neutral or it should be equidistant. We are going to see this, what these terms mean. As of now, just understand that state and religion, the relationship should be either neutral or it should be equidistant. Okay, so now after studying this, let us now go to the definitional aspects. So in very simple terms, if you are going to write an answer, simply what you have to write is secularism means separation between state and religion. Simple terms, what we studied over here is that between the state and the individual, religion is absent, and between state and religion, it should be neutral or equidistant. This is how you have to define it. Remember that whenever you are writing UPSC answers, okay, or for that matter, if you are writing even your undergraduate courses, exams of undergraduate courses, then also you should always begin with a definition. Okay, try to incorporate the definition of the key terms. So if there is a question on secularism, you should always try to give a standard definition in 1 or 2 lines. You should explain what secularism means. After that, you should enter into the debate, then try to give the pros and cons or the issues which the question is trying to ask. So in terms of definition, how are we going to define? It is simply the separation between the religion and the state. Now there are two versions of it. First is the religious neutrality, second is the principled equidistance, right? So we are going to understand these terms. So what equidistance is? Simply it means that, since just try to understand the situation of India. In India there are more than one religion, right? We are a diverse country having multiple religions like in Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, okay, then Sikhism, Buddhism. So when the state is dealing with these religions, okay, so then it should maintain equal distance, like it should not favor some religion and neither it should discriminate some other religion, right? This is what equidistance means, maintaining equal distance. Okay, maintaining equal distance from all the religions. Okay, and this simply means that there should be no favor, towards any religion. Okay, towards any religion, and at the same time there should be no discrimination. Okay, there should be no discrimination against any religion. Okay, so suppose in India there is a government elected by the minorities, sorry, not minorities but actually majorities, because in most of the countries, most of the democracies, actually the government is majority government, right? So because of that, what happens that whichever religion is dominant in any country, that government comes to power. Okay, so in India, like Hindus are dominant, in Pakistan Muslims are dominant, okay, and in Bangladesh also Muslims are dominant. So most of the times what is going to happen in a democracy, there will be a government which is actually representative of the majority community, right? So whatever be the situation, if a country, okay, if a country is secular, then it must not discriminate against or favor towards any of the religions. Okay, so this is what principled equidistance means. Now let us see the second term, this one, religious neutrality. See, we all know what neutral means, right? That means not being biased towards anybody, not favoring, not discriminating. So neutrality means you are not going to interfere, you don't have to get involved with the religion, you leave it. Okay, total withdrawal. Neutrality means the state has to be totally withdrawing. It has to be totally withdrawing from the space of religion. Okay, so there are three features. These are the three core features of secularism. If you want to know whether a country is truly secular or not, then what you have to do? You have to just check for these three features. Now this is the standard version. Okay, remember this is the standard version, standard definition of secularism. The first one is the separation between religion and state. Second is universal citizenship, and third one is freedom of religion. Now what's universal citizenship means? This simply means that all individuals, right, have rights. Now especially we are talking here about democracies. Okay, we're not talking about theocracies or authoritarian type of governments. So universal citizenship means that rights which are accorded to the individuals, they must be equal. Okay, so every individual must have equal rights. Every individual must have equal rights, and no one, okay, no one should have special rights. No one should have special rights. Okay, special rights. So especially what happens if you take example of Indian Constitution, then from Article 25 to 28, that is freedom of religion, see, these rights are available to everybody. Okay, so this qualifies the condition of universal citizenship. Every individual has the right to what? To practice, to propagate, to profess their own religion, right? So this is actually freedom of religion, Article 25 to 28, and this is available to everyone, right? But apart from that, in Indian Constitution, there is Article 29 and 30. This is related with cultural and educational right? So this is related or available to linguistic and cultural minorities. Okay, now this right is not available to majority community. This is what differentiates, like this is a kind of group right. Okay, group right means which is available to people not as individual but as a member of a community. So these kind of rights are available only to minorities. So when applied to Indian situation, this test fails. Okay, in India we have a concept of differentiated citizenship. Okay, differentiated citizenship. So as per Western scholars like D.E. Smith, so these scholars say that India is not a fully secular country. Though we see certain features of secularism in India, but we cannot call India as a truly secular country, right? So this is the reason why they say that India is not a truly secular country, because we have a concept of differentiated citizenship in which certain groups of people, especially the minorities, have special rights. Okay, and we don't need to stress that much on this topic because we already know that freedom of religion is available under Articles 25 to 28. So this simply means that every individual, no matter to which religion he belongs, okay, he or she should have the right, okay, should have the freedom to practice, profess and propagate their religions. Okay, now after studying this, now let us move to the historical and philosophical basis of secularism. See, now why should be studying this topic? Is this actually relevant for UPSC or not? So see, the nature of the question in UPSC is now like it is in form of debate. Okay, you are not going to be asked like what is secularism, explain it. It will be always be in the nature of debates. You will have to discuss it, you will have to critically analyze it, and then using examples you have to elucidate or substantiate your argument. Okay, and in this situation you need to have a certain background of the concept. So in this we are going to see the historical evolution and the philosophical basis of secularism. Okay, so yes, we know that any concept, okay, any concept in political science or in social sciences, actually it emerges, okay, it emerges out of certain historical condition. Okay, there is a particular situation and every concept is a child. It's a child of its time and space. Now space means it is a product of its geography, and time, you know, it is a historical situation. So secularism is a child of what? It is a child of Renaissance. I hope you have heard this word Renaissance. This is a kind of revival of ancient learning, okay, cultural and literary learning in Europe. So it is a product of Renaissance, and it is a product of what? Christianity. Like Christianity, especially the Reform movement, okay, within the Christianity. And one more fact word you must know, that is modernity, okay. So secularism is a product of Renaissance, Christianity and modernity. Now how is it so? We are just going to see it. So as of now, you must know that every concept in political science, it emerges because of certain historical and geographical conditions. A concept is a child of its time and place, okay. So in that way, secularism is a product of Europe, okay. It's a European concept, and इसका background क्या था? Its background was the Renaissance period, okay. So during Renaissance period, Europe was changing from medieval times to the modern times, okay. It was undergoing a transition. Now you must have read in world history that medieval times, Europe especially, was in the dark ages, okay. Now what the dark ages means? It simply means that there was too much focus on religion. Now the thing is that if there is too much focus on religion, or if there is dominance of the priestly class, the clergymen, or the churches and the temples, then in such a situation there will be too much focus on God and religion. And because of this, what is going to happen? Scientific thinking, this is going to be compromised, okay. Scientific thinking, इसका क्या होगा? ये compromise हो जाएगी. So during the medieval times, what was happening? God and religion, they were very, very prominent, okay. In Europe, God and religion, it was so prominent that every aspect of human being, okay, the human life, it was supposed to be sacrificed, okay. Human life was supposed to be sacrificed for the cause of religion and God. So you don't have to think about your happiness, but you have to think about the happiness of the God, okay. So when the phenomena of Renaissance, Enlightenment, Humanism, this all started to happen, okay, like Humanism, Enlightenment and Renaissance, when all this started to happen, then there started to happen a shift in what? Shift in the thinking process. Like people said that instead of thinking about God and religion, you should think about human beings, okay. So आपको क्या करना है? You don't have to focus on God and religion, what we should do, that we can make God happy. Instead of that, what you should do? You should focus on how to make the lives of human beings better, how to improve the conditions of the society. So see, this is the thing what is happening, the shift from importance of God and religion to the shift of humanity towards the benefit of humanity. So because of that, what is going to happen? That religion will become less powerful, or the church. Remember that church was located in Italy, that is Rome, okay. And this thinker Machiavelli, he actually belonged from Italy, which was the seat of the Roman Catholic Church. So because of this, in the medieval ages, church was very, very powerful. It was so powerful that it could execute the kings, okay. And because of that, the king, okay, there were two centers of power. One was church, other was the king, okay. These were two centers of power. But because power was divided between the church and the king was actually not that powerful, okay. So because whenever, like, see, power is a zero sum game. Power क्या है? It is a zero sum game. That simply means that if somebody gains power, then the relative power of other is going to decrease. So because during the medieval times, church was powerful, and not only religiously powerful, it wielded political power also, okay. It wielded political power also, and because of that, the king was weak. Now the king is weak, then the military will be weak. You just try to understand it. If the king is not powerful, its army and the military will not be powerful, and this is going to make the country weak, okay. When the king is weak, the country itself will be weak. So because of that, most of the European countries, because of the dominance of the church, these countries, kings and the nation states, they were weak. So in this background, comes Machiavelli, who was a diplomat actually, okay. And Italy during his times was quite a weak power, and other countries like France and Germany, they were powerful. So he find out the root cause of the weakness of Italy, and he said that it is because of the dominance of religion and the dominance of the church. So he said that in order to make Italy great, see, the background of secularism is in nationalism. You must understand this, okay. The background of emergence of secularism is in emergence of nationalism. So these two things are happening side by side. ऐसा नहीं कि अकेले secularism आ रहा है. There is a specific background. So the rise of secularism occurs simultaneously with the rise of nationalism, okay. Since Machiavelli was concerned with glory of Italy, okay, he wanted that Italy should become a powerful country. And if Italy has to become a powerful country, what it needs to do? It needs to put religion and God in the background, and politics must come at the foreground, okay, so that king becomes very, very powerful, and in turn Italy becomes a powerful country, okay. So see, these two concepts are linked. So if you have to bring nationalism, patriotism at the forefront, you should bring secularism at the top, especially if there is a country in which there are multiple religions. So if people are fighting, if religious groups are fighting with each other, that country can never be powerful. You should try to link this concept with Indian version of secularism, that why is secularism so important for India? Because we have such a huge diversity, okay. We have such a huge diversity, and for that we need secularism, okay. We need a basis of nationalism which is independent of religion. So that's why we see that during the Renaissance times, there was enlightenment, there was humanism. Humanism simply means focus on humans, okay, focus on human problems and human issues. So Machiavelli said that there should be strict separation between religion and politics, okay. The church should not interfere in the church should not interfere in politics, and the king or the emperor or the monarch, they should not interfere in matters of religion, okay. So the product of modernity is nationalism, and nationalism along with secularism, they both emerge simultaneously, right? Now let us move to the second slide and see. Okay, so we have kind of gone through the concept, the definition, and the philosophical aspect of it, okay. Philosophical aspect is like what are the basis, okay, basis of secularism. So basis is simply that there should be non-interference in matters of politics, okay, and states should treat every religion at par, okay. Now let us see these two related concepts which we have actually seen in the previous slide. We will just try to understand it, okay. Now let us think of Indian policy of equidistance. This is Indian model of equidistance. So what it says that, oh, see, this is the more standard version of religious neutrality, is the standard version of, okay, this is the standard version of secularism. This one is standard or European version, okay. This is the European version of secularism, and this one is the Indian version of secularism, okay. So by neutrality, you understand that the state has to be neutral in terms of its religious ideas, okay. The state should not have its own religion, and at the same time it should not show favor to any religion, okay. So for example, a theocratic state is not a secular state, okay. And what does equidistance means? So let us take example of Hinduism, okay. So we know that in Hinduism there are certain problematic aspects. In fact, every religion has some or the other problematic issues or aspects which need to be reformed, okay. So Hinduism, for example, earlier we used to have sati system, right? Even now we have certain religious places or temples where women are not allowed to enter. You would have heard about the Sabrimala case, okay, where the women were not allowed to enter the temple corridor, or actually the shrine where the deity is supposed to be located. So in a similar way, in Islam we find the issue of triple talaq. In Christianity also, they are especially the conservative Christians, they are against the abortions, okay. So even if mother is like endangered, like if mother while giving birth she is susceptible, okay, vulnerable to death, Then also there are certain category of Christian sects which oppose abortions. Okay, so how to deal with these situations? Should state not intervene so as to take care of these issues? Because ultimately state काम क्या है? State, the purpose of state is welfare of the citizens. So if there are issues with certain religions, then what we need reforms. Okay, we need religious reforms, we need regulations, right? So Indian Constitution provides the state this capability that it can interfere or intervene in religious matters if they are needed to be reformed. Second thing is that in Indian version of secularism, the state can even promote. Okay, see, in the European model or the standard model, state should not promote, but in Indian model, the state is allowed to even promote religions. But the thing is, if the state is promoting religion A, then it must also promote religion B. Okay, it should not favor or disfavor anyone. So if the state is organizing Hajj Yatra, okay, for the Muslims, if the state is organizing Hajj Yatra for Muslim, then it is also organizing Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. Okay, it is also organizing Kailash Mansarovar Yatra for the Hindus. Okay, similarly, like there is a Geo-Parsi scheme. There is a Geo-Parsi scheme. What it aims? It aims to increase the population of the Parsis, because the population of Parsis is showing a declining trend. Okay, so in that way, India as a country, as a secular country, tries to promote each of the religions. But this is what ideal situation should be. But in reality, the things can be biased. Okay, so that we are going to take up in the third part of the lecture. Here we are just going to focus with the basics. Okay, now let us see, there are actually certain concepts which are interlinked with secularism. So most often than not, secularism will be found in the democracies. Okay, because you need to have certain rights so as to enjoy secularism. Then rational basis of nationalism, like it should be the secular. See, nationalism as an idea could be based on religion also. Like for example, in countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, okay, where they have a theocratic government. So in that countries, religion could be used as a tool to instill what? Nationalism. Okay, so you can use any of the ethnic identities. Some countries can use race, okay, or religion. So this could be even language. In the older days, language was used as a one of the tools or the basis of nationalism. So here the scholars say that in a secular country, nationalism should be the ideology and it should not be based on religion. It should be independent of religion, right? So you don't need religion so as to raise the feeling of or arouse the feeling of nationalism. It could be based on your culture or the heritage or literary traditions or sports. You have to use a medium of nationalism which is independent of religion. Okay, then we have talked about this universal citizenship, and India as such does not have, actually Indian model is a hybrid. Okay, Indian model is a hybrid. So we have both. We have universal also and we have differentiated citizenship also. Okay, so you must remember that Indian model is a hybrid model. Okay, we have actually borrowed certain features from Western model and we have also innovated. We have added to the concept of secularism certain of our own innovations. Okay, so with differentiated citizenship, there is one more concept which is linked, that is called multiculturalism. Okay, so we are going to see them in the later lectures, that what multiculturalism is and how it is related with differentiated citizenship. Okay, and then last point, which is like the very important for secularism, is equality before law. Okay, so we know that in Indian Constitution from Article 14, okay, from 14 to actually Article 18, right? From 14 to 18 we have right to equality, and within that Article 14 is right to equality before law. Okay, so for a secular country we need all these features. Now there are certain divergences in the Indian model of secularism. So in the next part of the lecture we are going to focus on those discussions. Okay, in the part 2 of this video, part 2, we are going to see the difference. We are going to have a table and we are going to study what the differences are. Okay, So we are going to see this in the part 3 of the video. As of now, let us end this lecture, and please visit our YouTube channel so as to have the detailed knowledge of this topic. Okay, so friends, this is it, and if you have any feedbacks, do write them on the comments, and I'm going to try to incorporate those feedbacks. And if you like this video, please press the like button and stay tuned to our channel. Thanks a lot for watching the video.